trouble because we're not in tune with the Spirit of God. Then we put ourselves in a position, well, now I got myself in a situation, I'm going to fight. Now you don't know what the other person got. Or you can be in a position where you can lose your job, or you can be thrown out of your house, or whatever. So certain times, it's good to flight, meaning keep your mouth shut, and let things work out, let God move it until that time. He'll give you a time to speak. He gave Moses the time to speak then. He gave Moses, because Moses said, I can't talk. He said, I can't talk, I stutter, I don't have that type of speech. But he said, don't worry about that. Yeah, I'm gonna send somebody with you. Just tell them that I am that I am. Your time will come. Don't worry. Just go. Be obedient. All right? Oh my God. Man, this is good stuff.
Chill, no freeze. Sometimes the perceived threat is so intense it triggers a freeze response. I think we all could.
We talked about this too.
This could be interpreted as the brain being overwhelmed by the threat, or it could also be an adaptive positive response to a threat.
Yes.
It's probably involved in humans and animals as a way of keeping still so a predator's attention would not be triggered by movement. Either way, for modern humans, the freeze response means that the muscle remains tense and hold for action that is never really initiated. That's why we often get knots in our backs, shoulders, necks, and arms. We have not discharged the tension.
That's right. That's right. So basically, we talked about this on Tuesday night. That how about if you come past or come in contact with a snake, you're gonna freeze. You ain't gonna move, are you? You're gonna stop. So same thing with, you know, and I know you had experience with this. I've seen them because I live out in the country. Deer, when a deer shoot right in front of you, what do? You freeze. You stop, you trying to look and see, because usually 9 times out of 10, you see one, it's got another right behind it. That's right. That's right. So you know something else. So those that freeze mode, sometimes it's good that you may have to freeze because you don't know what it's unexpected. It's unexpected. So we don't know, so you got to be very, very careful in certain situations where you go. Don't know, because that may put you in a position. Maybe it's good for you to freeze, because if you act soon, you're gonna put yourself in danger. That's right. You're gonna put yourself in danger. Or if you move it too fast without the Spirit of God moving you and speaking through you, you're gonna really mess yourself up real bad. And God don't want that. But when we talk about fight and flight, and we're dealing with men when it comes to stress, sometimes certain situations in a man's life will stress him out, and he don't know how. I know his number one response is to fight, because he don't know how to withdraw himself back out of it, because his nature, or the nature of man, is to fight. So that stress that he's under can put him in more trouble than he was before he got into that situation. So it's very, very important. All right, now I'm going to read a little bit here. How will knowing the fight or flight response will help me with stress? And many of y'all out there are struggling with stress. Many of y'all that know men or women, you know men, or men out there that's listening to this broadcast, you are going through stressful situations, and sometimes you don't know to run away from it or stand there and fight. And sometimes as a man, since we have not been taught as a man, all we know how to do is respond the negative way. And that's with physical violence, okay? And that's not the way to do it, because, like I said before, brother, like we put ourselves in positions, sometimes in a position that we can't get ourselves out. You know, you kill somebody, right now, you can go to jail, bam, and then now everybody's affected by the situation now, because now you locked up, you gotta do some time, bam. Or you get killed, now your family gonna suffer again because you're not there to help them out. You see what I'm saying? Okay, so it's a lot of things, man, you got to understand about stress on how we're going to fight or flight. For some people, knowing that butterflies in their stomach or the muscle tension in their neck is part of the body's normal response to stress can help them feel empowered to make changes. Understanding the physiological mechanism or the fight or flight response can provide people a sense of that machinery of the body can be manipulated in a healthy and adaptive way to respond to stress. And basically that's true. And we talked about this Tuesday. I know many years ago when I was basically preaching in the pulpit, every time I would sit there, I'll be fine, listen to music, the choir singing, man, the spirit is high, and it's about 5 minutes, because you say, the pastor will introduce the preacher, and say, the next voice you will hear will be such and such, such and such. Soon as they sing they get ready to sing that second song, I have to get up and go downstairs and go to the bathroom to relieve that and get that tension out of me, because that stress built up. But once I came back upstairs, I'm good to go. But we all get that. All of us get it. I don't care. It could be butterflies. You could be sweating, or your palms could be sweaty. You can get nervous. Your leg. Well, we all go through those issues, but you got to learn how to take control of it. But if you don't recognize that it's stress, then you ain't gonna know how to deal with it. You see what I'm saying? And then that way, if we're going through those type of situations, you got to really put yourself in a situation or learn how to deal with those situations, because if you don't, it can take control of you, and then eventually it can go out of control. You see what I'm saying? Because see, what does stress lead to? What are we talking about? A stress can lead to habits, and habits can then lead to addictions, right? We cover it up with alcohol, drugs, or whatever to relieve the stress off us, so we don't have to think about it, and so we can deaden it. But once the drug is going off and the alcohol is rolling up, the stress is still there. I don't care if it could be your job, it could be your family, it could be any number of things. It could be your kids, it could be any situation in there that's causing stress to come on you. But if you don't know how to deal with it, usually as we as men, we don't know how to deal with the stress mechanism that's going on in our life, because we have not been taught. So what we do, we try to cover it up with the drugs and the alcohol. It could be the sex. It could be any number of things that we do to relieve that stress, or to cover it up to make us feel better, until, because you know, again, it's going to come back again. It's coming back. All right? So praise be to God. All right, let's go on to the next. I'll read the next one. In the face of stress, do men always fight or flight? That's a powerful question. All right? Do women always nurture? 9 times out of 10, men will always fight. Generally speaking, men is always going to fight. We just talked about that because they have not been taught anything different, because the man box says we got to be strong, we got to be in control, and we're going to talk about this. See, I'm telling you, that's why I love God so much. Praise be to God. We're going to talk about this next week. Alpha male versus a gentleman. Are they the same, or is there a difference? An alpha male wants to be in control. And we talked about this a little bit on Tuesday, about how a lion over the pride, he's in control, he has to be domineering. Territorial. We're going to deal with this next week. Alpha male versus a gentleman. All right, we're going to deal with this, because what happens is a man is taught, he's territorial. He wants to protect what's around him. Now, a man will go, we talked about this too, Brother Dwight, and this is a very, very powerful broadcast. And I guess maybe that's how the enemy, yeah. That's why I think the devil wanted Brother Josh to be here, because I knew this was going to be a powerful broadcast somehow down the line. How to stop it. But the point of it is that we as men are territorial. If we lose our home, if we lose our job, our car, any type of possession, we're going to fight for that. And if it's not a physical person, then we're going to commit suicide. Or we're going to drown it out with an addiction because now we have nothing. We feel like we're nothing. We feel that we cannot add to society, or really, quote unquote, not society, but to make ourselves feel good about ourselves, we have nothing in it. We think that we're nothing, because a man is supposed to represent himself as being a chief. That's how society rates us. By the car we drive, by the home we have, kind of money we have in the bank. All this stuff is in that man box on how we should live.
And you know, the awesome thing, phenomenal thing, but the thing is that, and I talk to men, they don't understand the concept. But when I talk to women,
They understand.
they ain't gonna put it like that.
Oh yeah, they do. Because you got to understand that how God made woman was he made woman as his helpmeet, right? So she knows more about man than man knows about herself, because you got to understand that woman came out of man.
That's right.
So she already knows about relationships, because that's what she was made for. Man was not made for that. Man was made to go out and conquer. So that's why I always tell y'all that God never told a woman to love. He told man, love thy wife as Christ has loved the church. So when you talk to women, she won't know, because she knows basically the concept or how she wants to be treated by a man, and she knows those basic things. But the men don't know that, because they have to be taught. Good God, guys. Woo! Maybe, maybe not. Recent research suggests that men sometimes demonstrate the same stress responses that people stereotypically associate with women, which is true. The details for decades, psychologists, anthropologists, and ethnologists have claimed that the human stress response can be boiled down to fight or flight. Here it goes back to it again. We have all heard of this. When faced with significant stress, such as an immediate threat to one's well-being, people will either fight to ward off, which it is, and you can look at animals out in the wild. If they feel a threat, you don't tempt an animal. Have you? I don't know if you ever seen this. Many years ago, I guess they still do the world's funniest videos or whatever. I don't watch it, but it was a clip on there many years ago where this man was out in the wild, and a deer felt threatened by this man. And I mean, he got up on his hind legs and was kicking the man in his head. Literally kicking. So an animal goes, it's the same thing with us. He has an adrenaline rush within himself about the fight or flight. Do I feel threatened by a human being? If it is, that animal is going to go into attack mode. And same thing with us. And that animal, you do not, a bear, a snake, any wild beast that you see out there that's dangerous to any kind of cheetah or anything like that you see out in the wild like that, especially in a cat. What's the first thing a cat do? You come upon a cat. The first thing a cat going to do, he's going to run. That's the flight mode. But if you corner him, when that cat come in contact with a dog or something, what he gonna do? There he is. That hand stand up. He ready to go.
Ready to get to the face first.
There it is. Because he only has one try. That's it. Because I was thinking about that coming down here. It's so powerful. It's because a cat knows he only has one chance, and that's to scratch. If he don't get any kind of vital organ or anything like that, that dog will kill him. Because that's all he gets. Once all he do is scratch one time, that dog will be on him. Because a dog will take a hit. He'll take a hit. But you best believe he's gonna put a lick on you as well. All right. Praise be to God. Hallelujah. Oh man, this is a powerful broadcast tonight. Okay. People will either fight to ward off the threat or retreat from it to a safer position. That's what we do as people. That's exactly right. Sociologist Walter Cannon proposed this idea approximately 100 years ago, and it was largely accepted without question until social psychologist Shelley Taylor tackled the issue. Taylor and her collaborators undermined the canon of psychology by arguing that unlike men, women typically demonstrate a tend and befriend pattern. We talked about that earlier. We're going to talk about that later on. The need to size of a threat applies to males and females, largely because both must solve similar evolutionary problems regarding survival of the self and the offspring. So basically, a woman is going to protect her young. And you can tell this. If you know a woman that have children, the first thing she gonna go to bat for is those kids, right or wrong. But a man ain't think about the kids anymore. He ain't think about the kids. Oh, he think about his car, his sport, whatever. Yeah, all that other stuff. But the woman is going to be concerned about those kids. She'll go to hell and high water to protect those kids. But that man ain't gonna think. No, generally speaking. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's go to hyperarousal beyond fight or flight.
In a crisis, your choices are limited, but it's not as bad as you think.
That's right.
You may not realize the ways you are already responding to acute stress. When an animal such as a human is threatened, adrenaline flows through the bloodline.
Yeah.
And the animal goes into fight or flight.
That's right.
Or otherwise known as hyperarousal, or acute stress response.
Yeah.
But there are more choices on the list than just fight or flight. It's not exactly a choice in the usual sense of having free will, and you might not even recognize that what you are doing is a hyperarousal response to danger.
Yes.
The hazards of modern life go beyond what we can simply run away from or turn and fight against. And our responses are likewise more sophisticated. It no longer looks like the biological textbook response of fighting, fleeing.
Yes, that's right. So basically, this tells us that that animals have the same thing that we have, the adrenaline coming through us. So we got to understand that our responses to those things are it could be a danger, but then sometimes they may not be as bad as we think. So that's why we have to have a discerning spirit to know, is this a bad thing? Is this a good thing? Do I need to avoid this situation? Because you may see two people out in the street fighting. Is it smart for you to go get involved? No, it ain't too smart, is it? So that means on that particular thing, you need to fight. Now, if you have some, go ahead, brother.
That's how that, it was a black guy, big guy, I think it made it new. That's how he got killed by a police officer. He was helping a police officer break up a fight.
Oh, man.
He was helping a police officer break up a fight. The police officer turned on him and called his boys up for officers and put him in a chokehold. And he died. I mean, he was overweight at the same time. So he's trying to be a good Samaritan here for police officers, but it goes back to like Tyrone said. Fight or flight. And that's why it's good to have a discerning spirit. Just because police officers are humans, but at the same time, the evil spirit could be them as
That's right. That's
so
right.
you have the discernment spirit, even though they might be in uniform, they supposedly to protect and serve. But at the same time, who are they serving?
That's right. That's right.
So,
that's right.
It's good to have that.
That's right. That's right.
You just brought me back to that.
That's right. Now, all right. Let's go down to number 2, brother.
To begin with, in modern society, the fight response doesn't usually involve duking it out.
That's right. That's right.
It can always be lowering up or breaking out the rule book to make an argument in your favor. It can be a sarcasm or humiliation. You might fight alone in your car by talking out loud about what a useless nitwit your boss is as you drive home from your job behavior. Then there are many ways of fighting back.
So this teaches you more that it's not, like you said earlier, it's not always physical.
That's right. That's right.
It's not a physical. Majority of the fights that we fight, 99.99% of the time, it's not a physical or for a physical offense.
I think we'll talk a little bit about it later. It's more emotional now than it is physical. But some of us, we don't recognize that it is more emotional. But we, as men, we think, we see a threat. Well, okay, he's threatening my manhood, so I'm going to physically fight him. Well, I'm going to do something to let him see that I'm a man. And it's always a physical thing. But they don't think because the enemy has taken control of the situation and making it, and what he's doing, he's trying to expose a man to make him feel less than. So the only thing when a man feels less than, he's going to react with violence. You see what I'm saying? But it's not always that bad all the time. But like we talked about, if he does not have that spirit of God within him and direct him, he's not going to know that. And that's going to put him in a bad situation. Just like a caged animal, when you back up into a wall, into a corner, you're in a bad situation. Terrible situation. That's right. That's right. All right, let's go down to, we can jump down a little bit. Boy, this is good stuff here, man. I'm really learning something here. You can close on 4. Let's go down to 3. We ain't got to deal because we talked about the freezing. We talked about that.
Why is it important to realize what fight mode looks like?
Yes.
What it looks like.
Yes.
If you find that your anger and fear responses are ruling your decision making at critical times of acute stress, then it's critical to recognize when you are having such a response. Faster breathing, sweaty palms, or a knotted stomach may be a physical cue that your adrenaline is in charge of decision making. Wow. The other thing to know is that the adrenaline has a limited toolkit for problem solving, whether in yourself or when you can see that other person or that another person is in a hyperarousal. You can better understand motivation, predict behavior, and direct the situation towards a positive outcome. I guess that goes to, for some reason, he just took it to, so I guess people that study mental health, because when you study mental health, you study different behaviors, different language, different body language. So now by you having that level of education, you are able to predict different things because you had that education. Same thing with law enforcement. Law enforcement officers, they are trained to recognize criminality, criminal activity, and they just by the behavioral people shifting, they able to recognize certain things just by
the training that they took to recognize those type of situations. I guess that the more the stories that